All right, hello everyone. It is now 1:45, so I want to thank you all for coming out for our panel on TikTok and cosplay. We have some wonderful, yay! It's great to see all of you. We have a good panel for you today with some wonderful panelists. So I don't need to introduce them, they'll introduce themselves. But in case you don't know me, I am Magically Phoebe on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And for the rest of our panelists, can you give us an introduction of who you are, how long you've been cosplaying, and when you decided to start on TikTok? We'll start with Ann Cosplay.
I'm Ashley and I go by Ann Cosplay. I've been cosplaying for about 4 years and I decided to check out TikTok the fall before quarantine because everybody else was obsessed with it, which isn't like a reason to go and do something, but you know. And I didn't get super into TikTok and posting my own content until quarantine hit.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, I am Celeste, aka Celestial or Orvix Cosplay, on pretty much everything. I have been cosplaying since 2017, and I downloaded TikTok around Ace Comic Con 2019 was when I posted my first TikTok, but definitely during quarantine, or right before quarantine is when I actually started like regularly posting to TikTok, and you know, really helped.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Amanda, also known as AA Cosplay on TikTok and Instagram. I've been cosplaying for over a decade now, and I got on TikTok February of 2019.
Wonderful, thank you so much, panelists. So let's get into the meat of the questions here. When you're filming your TikToks, what kind of equipment are you using? Are you using ring lights, special backdrops? What makes the magic work?
So for starters, I don't think you need to have any type of special equipment because some of the most viral videos aren't like the most cinematography great video ever filmed, but it does help to at least have some sort of tripod. I myself got really tired of balancing my phone on my cat Gabe's little cat tree all the time. So I went to Five Below and got one of the little twisty ones, and that was fine for a while, but I did upgrade to one that was about $50 on Amazon. It had a medium-sized ring light on it, and it was well worth the investment because it's great for YouTube videos, taking photos. It's paid for itself. But as far as any sort of special like colored lighting, I know a lot of people are really into the strip LED lights and like to line their rooms with them, but I wasn't crazy about the idea of sticking that to my walls, so instead I kind of like innovated a little setup. But I went to Walmart and I got a $6 desk lamp from the office section, and then I also in the office section got some of those like clear binder separators that are colored, and this sounds really complicated, but it's a lot easier than it sounds. But I would tape those to the little desk light and just shine that on whatever wall behind me that I'm filming on, so I'm not like stuck to filming in one place in my little condo. But outside of physical equipment, I think it helps to have like a nice little editing app, and my favorite one for just basic effects and filters, Prequel, is really good. They have great free features because we're not trying to pay for that stuff.
Wonderful. And Celeste, same question.
So I'm a bit extreme. I have 5+ ring lights, but I also have been doing YouTube and photography and stuff like that. I wear a lot of hats, so I have a lot of equipment. And so you don't have to have 5 ring lights by any means. Please don't have 5 ring lights because I only really use 1, maybe 2 when it comes to actually doing TikTok, but definitely a tripod and a good source of light. I know when I first started on YouTube, I just used a good desk light for most of my stuff and balanced my iPhone 5. You really don't need anything fancy. The viral videos I've had are really just me walking with my phone, doing something random and putting it down. Like the ones I put the most work into honestly flop, but that's not to say your hard work isn't gonna go, you know, unnoticed. But you really don't need anything fancy. For my favorite editing software, I really like Visco. You can do photos, but you can also, if you upgrade, which I paid the money for because I use it enough, you can also use the filters for your videos as well, which I swear by. Make them sharper.
Wonderful, thank you, Celeste. All right, so moving along. How can someone who is new to being a cosplayer on TikTok begin to grow their platform there? And let's start with Ashley on this one.
So I think one of the best ways to start to gain some more views and things is to stay on top of trends, which you'll definitely see emerging trends the more you scroll through your For You page, or you're just following some of the biggest creators that maybe aren't even cosplayers. But there's always a trend, and that's not to say you have to do every single trend that comes out every day, but trending audios tend to just do a little bit better with views, so it's nice to do that now and then and kind of put your own spin on it for whatever you're doing. Another great thing you can do is just engage with other users on TikTok. If you're commenting and liking their stuff, especially if you find people that are cosplaying from the same thing or like the same things you do, chances are their followers will see your stuff too and will want to check you out, and that's just a great way to start growing your platform. But I don't think there's really like a golden rule for how much you should be posting a day, because I tried every single thing and it just like doesn't work. But there is some consistency does help, especially even just posting once a day, or if you do go live, being a little consistent. But it takes a lot of work, and I gave up on that, to be honest. So that's why my top tips are just engage with other users and stay on top of trends as much as you can.
And the same question for Celeste.
Pretty much the same thing, especially you want to jump on those audios as soon as they're starting to take flight before they just get oversaturated. But if you're going to start cosplaying from something like My Hero Academia, like interact with the My Hero Academia type of videos and stuff like that, and you can, really build like a family, or like I'm old, like a guild or something like that, with people that you have similar interests in. But yeah, also definitely having fun. Like if you can see someone just like, doing a TikTok dance and stuff and they're not having fun, you're not going to want to interact. No one's going to, having fun is always the most important thing, because when you're having fun, people want to watch.
Absolutely agreed. Thank you. All right, so how have you handled negative comments and hate, whether on TikTok, Instagram, any form of social media really? And for this one, we'll start with Amanda.
So I don't think I've ever gotten like negative comments on TikTok, but I've definitely gotten some negative comments on Instagram. It does take some thick skin, and you kind of just take it with a grain of salt. Normally what I do is I delete and I forget all about it. There's been some, it's kind of like, wow, well, what can I take from this, whether it be positive or negative? Like, how can I make my character maybe less where it will get negative comments? But the positive comments really, it makes you feel like warm and fuzzy inside, and it just makes you want to like create more for the people that like support you. And then the haters are just like, well, what can I do to make it better? Maybe they'll like something else that I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And same question there for Celeste.
I usually delete the comment, block, and move on. Unless it's sexual harassment, then I will call you out on it and make you feel bad. And usually the trash will take itself out. If someone says something inappropriate, I'll say like, ew, gross, and they'll either, block me or remove their own comment because they were called out on it. It doesn't always happen, it's not always negative, but it is the internet, so people are always going to have something to say whether you want it or not. And I'm not saying you have to have thick skin. I'd be lying if I said, some of the stuff didn't get under my skin, but definitely it's one of those like, am I ever going to meet them? Does this really affect me? Like, no, I'm just going to block it, move on, because once you block it, they can't continue to harass you.
Totally, that's great advice, thank you. All right, so obviously, especially with the way the past year has been, burnout has been really common for a lot of TikTokers, a lot of cosplayers. When experiencing burnout, how do you handle that, and how do you then maintain motivation? So for that one, let's start with Ashley.
That's a really hard question. But I feel like social media is like really built to burn people out, and that's totally okay, because sometimes it feels silly talking to my friends like, I'm so burnt out on TikTok, but it's a real thing. Like, you're juggling a lot between like full-time job, making new content, maybe making new cosplays to have the new content, and even going to school on top of pandemic. It's a lot of stuff. But what helped me realize is that I don't really owe anyone anything. Like, I don't have to post, and if I lose followers because of it, then they weren't really worth having to begin with. But I definitely learned to pace myself to not get burned out, because I used to have like this internal dialogue of like, I have to get this done, I must do this thing, or else I just felt like a total failure. But I kind of changed that monologue to like, I would like to get this done, but if I don't, it's totally okay. Because we're cosplaying and dressing up as fictional characters, and it's supposed to be fun, and when it's not fun, then like, it's a problem. But when I want to get back into it, it's watching a lot of other people for inspiration. Now that conventions are back, that's so helpful, but watching videos of people working on cosplay, being at conventions, it just starts to motivate me a little more. And maybe in the meantime, I explore some other hobbies, but then when I'm ready, I can get back to creating for myself.
Wonderful, thank you. And then Amanda, same question for you.
So I think like at the peak of my TikTok career, if you want to call it that, it was more just for fun. Like, hey, what is this app? What can I do on this app? How do I work the app? And then it was more building on, what do I want to do with this app? Do I want to keep it cosplay? Do I want to maybe do a little bit more silly things? And then being in it since 2019, it's all over the place. My For You page, I don't know, it's very inappropriate. But like, you know, it's really just do it for yourself. Like if you get a viral video, there's maybe a little bit more pressure, and definitely I had one of those. Granted, it was the stupidest video in the world. It was me literally putting tape on a piece of paper and it blew up. I'm like, so people like weird stuff. Okay, that makes sense. My cosplay, I consider weird. I recently labeled myself as unconventional, and I feel like that's how I want to progress, like as far as like TikTok goes. But yeah, I agree with Ashley. There is definitely a burnout, and it's okay. Like there's a lot of pressure, especially when you have a viral video, because then it's like, do I want to continue, or do I want to maybe focus on what I want to do to make myself happy?
Perfect, thank you so much. All right, so what are your experiences, as you mentioned viral videos? Having had viral videos, what are your experiences, both positive and negative, with having a video go viral? And we're gonna start with Ashley.
All I really have to say is FORTNITE kids are mean. My TikTok, honestly, like my page took off because I have some FORTNITE cosplays, and those videos got a lot of traction, and those kids are awful. And like when a video starts to go viral, the way I kind of broke this down is like a video starts to go viral and it's starting to be seen by the audience you did not intend it for. So people have no idea what cosplay are, no idea what you're doing, they just don't get it. So
all I can think about is Mommy Ghost Face.
So, teenagers and weird adults. I went very viral from Mommy Ghostface back in April. All I did was put on a pair of demonias and like put a slit in my Ghostface costume and kick open a door and squat in front of the mirror, and it blew up. And now I am forever known as Mommy Ghostface. And so a negative side to that is anything else I put out there flopped. Everyone just wanted Mommy Ghostface. It didn't matter what I did, didn't matter what my passion was, they just wanted Ghostface. And so there's definitely that pressure to then cater to what the audience wants versus what I want to do. And it can also be very discouraging when, you know, for example, like my heart and soul is like Joker and stuff like that, and no one cared to see any of that stuff that I was, you know, putting out there. They just wanted Mommy Ghostface. And I had to, you know, accept that it was okay to not, you know, please everybody, that, you know, like we've all said, once it's not fun anymore, like, what's the point? So just always have fun. Some cool things that came from TikTok, though, is I got to work with DC Comics and Warner Brothers twice. Like, you know I'm dressed up as a Marvel character, but like that means the world to me. I never would have thought by posting a couple videos on TikTok that I get to work with one of like my biggest inspirations. And it was honestly life-changing, and it made it worth it.
that Batwoman video is still like one of my favorites.
It's so
And it's such a good cosplay. And Amanda.
I totally spaced on the question. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, yes. So the question was
The viral
videos,
Okay.
positive and negative
It's
experiences.
been a day.
Yeah,
It's been a week. It's been a weekend. It's been a day.
Yep.
So my first viral video was destroy this book, and I was going through and like actually completing the book, and a couple of them, I did. It was like hit me with a baseball bat, did it, and they're like put me in the freezer, did it. Not until I wrapped that piece of paper with Scotch tape did anybody care about it, and then just overnight 25,000 views, and I'm like, and it's not even that good. It's literally 10 seconds. And I've asked people, I'm like, why is this video so good? It's like, it's how you deliver it. I'm like, but I don't think I'm funny. Like, I didn't even try to be funny. I'm like, apparently they loved it. So I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, do I want to continue with Destroy This Book? Do I want to get some other books that I want to maybe do? Like, I had a go F yourself coloring book. Like, and there was a picture of a cat, and it was like, and like also kind of want to do it, but I'm like, I don't know about that and the traction. But it's like, that wasn't what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted my TikTok to be. I wanted it to be cosplay. And every time I get into a cosplay, I always film content. There's rarely a day where I take the time and put on a bunch of makeup, especially with Loki. It's a lot of contour and it's male eyebrows, which are not easy to do. And especially with this armor, it's like, during quarantine, it was different because there was time to do that. But, I'm a full-time mom. I have a part-time job. It's very difficult, and it is very waning.
Yeah.
But, and then you want to, like Celeste said, you want to please the people. And it's like, that's not what I want my page to be, though. I want it to be fun. I want it to be somebody to, like, come up and be like, oh my God, you look amazing, and maybe start cosplay because of it.
Yeah. All right, so in addition to some questions that we had prepared to ask the panel, we also set up a Google form to ask for some questions in advance in case anybody wanted to ask those anonymously. So we're going to start with a question that I don't know quite who asked this, but the question is, do you think that having professional cosplayers or YouTubers as headliners at conventions cheats fans out of more serious guests? So, that is for the whole panel, if anyone would like to answer.
I have a rebuttal question to that.
Yeah.
Like, is there a cap
No.
at guests? Then what's the problem?
Like-
There's so many famous YouTubers out there. Like, everybody should have a chance. Like,
I think so, yeah. I thought you wanted to answer.
I was just gonna say, like, define serious guests. Like, I don't consider, like, cosplay guests to be unserious.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we can have Rigno for the 80th time, or you can have a cool cosplay, not met before that you admire. Sorry,
Yeah, and I think it speaks to as well, professional is right there in the word. A lot of cosplayers who are having booths out there are doing this for a living, and they're doing an incredible job at it, just like people who are actors or creators who are also making money at their living. So to answer that question, I think, no, it does not cheat.
Yeah, long story short.
It does not. So we also have some more fun questions. Probably one of my favorite ones, someone wanted to know, what's your dream car? I don't know if they meant
what's the one with the black one with like the lights on it? Oh God, I'm like, yes, thank you. It's spacing
A
again.
DeLorean.
Oh my God, yes. Herbie the love bug.
Kirby's my favorite guy.
So actually, I got to live out some of my dream car fantasy. Gosh, and he has a Ford GT, and he has a GT3 RS, and I got to drive it, and there is no other thrill than going 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds.
It sounds like an advertiser.
That is a Taylor Swift lyric, and I don't know if I'll ever understand it. But we have one more question from the Google form, and then if anyone in the audience has questions, you are welcome to ask them by just raising your hand, and we'll call on you. But one more Google form question, which I think is a really good one. why did you decide to start doing cosplay? And Ashley, is it okay if we start with you?
Okay. I'm just thinking. It was like an anticlimactic start, which is fine. It was just, one of my former friends wanted to go to a convention and try cosplaying for the first time, but do it by yourself is kind of nerve-wracking. I was like, sure, sign me up, like that's cool. And Rogue One had just come out, so I dressed as Jin and I went full in on that thing. I was like, I'm gonna make the holster and all this stuff, and then I realized it was just the coolest thing ever, and it just kind of never faded from there. So it wasn't just a pretty casual start, just casual.
To make a long story short, I grew up watching Batman the animated series. I used to always say, I want to be Batman, I want to be Joker, and I wasn't allowed to celebrate Halloween as a kid, so even for Halloween, I wasn't even allowed to live out those fantasies. When I started doing makeup, I used to just do eyeshadow based off of the Zoras from Zelda, different, characters and all that kind of stuff, and then that turned into special effect makeup, which turned into adding a wig, which turned into adding more and more and more, until finally I was like, you know what? I want to go to a convention. And I didn't know anybody in the convention scene. I didn't know anything, especially when you don't even know where to start. And I had one friend who was like, I'm going to C2E2. And I Googled it and I was like, Stan Lee! Oh my God! And so that is actually, because they said it was Stan Lee as one of his last comic appearances. And I was like, well, I gotta. So I went and I actually met him as Naruto. That was my first ever cosplay. And I'll never forget him saying, nice costume, sweetie. Aww. And I teared up and I became addicted. Literally the first time I walked into C2E2, I started jumping up and down. I was like, I'm home. It was just like a missing puzzle piece.
Mine's more I don't know how to describe it. I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday of all time. So I got into it, and actually, funny enough, my first Comic-Con was here, way back when it was called Chicago Comic-Con. When it was the Queen of Hearts, and I had twisted my ankle, and I was on crutches, and side story, Rod Blagojevich hit on me, and yeah, it's a whole thing. And then I found this group called Costumers with a Cause, and I did my first Make-A-Wish event with them at Maggiano's downtown Chicago, and I just immediately fell in love with the charity work and the other people, and this instant bond that we all had with each other, because this is such a passion for all of us, and especially getting to be somebody that you're normally not. As I have a little bit of acting background as well, it's such a thrill and it's so much fun, and I love the kids' interactions. It's just as much as equally I love the adult interactions, because you can mess with some people and they love it, and I love it just in return.
All right, thank you so much, panelists. Does anybody in the audience have questions? We do have backups if you don't have questions, don't worry. Oh, yeah, we'll start with Spider Gwen.
So this is really more, I guess, just as a general artist thing online, but when it comes to TikTok and really, I guess, any social media, where do you find the balance between deciding I only want to post my best work, I only want to post stuff that I know that I can be proud of at the end of the day, versus the increasing need for okay, but you must have more content because the algorithm demands a sacrifice.
Absolutely, that's a great question. If any of you want to go for it.
First of all, let me comment and say the algorithm is totally messed up.
One of the previous questions, you have to pick and choose. Do you want to make yourself happy, or do you want to make people on the internet happy? And it is hard to find that balance of making yourself happy while still pleasing the people who are looking to you for entertainment or looking up to you. And it's very stressful because, I'm not a people pleaser, but when it comes to my content, oh God, am I a people pleaser? I think at the end of the day, is it going to be views, or is it going to be, I tried my best and this is it, and this is good.
That's a good answer. Wonderful. Good answer. Good answer. All right, I believe the Flash.
Yeah,
you also had a
basically it was
question?
just the same thing. I was like,
Oh.
what is the goal of what's your goal? The goal, what's the end goal of TikTok? Am I doing it to educate? Am I doing it to show off my skills? Am I doing it to try and get views? Am I doing it to try and get exposed to Marvel and DC?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was even a possibility, man.
Yeah.
That is like a really good question, just what is the goal?
Do you have further thoughts?
I'll come up with further thoughts. No, it's just because I've thought that myself. I haven't been active on TikTok in a couple months now, so that's kind of ironic, but it's just like, I think I did realize, because it was like, I have a full-time job. I went through a totally different job transition. Like, I want to put all my effort in my relationship and things like that. I'm a cat. And it's like, I started to realize, like, it was like, TikTok is not my number one priority at all. So that slipped for sure. And I think that's okay. I started off with I just wanted to do it because we were stuck in our bedrooms with all these costumes and there was nothing else to do. So when I started to be like, oh my God, this video is flopping. Oh my God, I'm cosplaying my hero instead of Fortnite and kids hate me. Like, I'm freaking out about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is just crazy. Like, I kind of had to like separate myself from it for a while. And like, I think it's just thinking about why you started it in the first place. Like, we did it because we love cosplay and it's like the end goal. I think if your end goal is views and to maybe be seen by some huge company, then you might just have a bad time. It's a lot of luck and it's kind of hard to just every day wake up and be like, I'm going on TikTok, DC needs to see me. It's not a good way to go about a day, I don't think.
And I know you guys have more experience than this than I have. The Creator Fund. You find yourself with a lot of views, a lot of followers. You sign up for that Creator Fund, and instantly it's like, nope, not anymore. You are wiped off the app.
It wasn't until Mommy Ghostface. Joining that was a mistake because it took months to get back to my normal views. I'd rather not make any money and have fun and have views than make $10 and suffer.
Yeah, that was, I joined it. This is a struggle. Like, definitely, I think everybody had the same experience where you join this Creator Fund, and I forget what like the stipulations to be accepted in it were, but it sounded great. Like, you post, you get views, you get money, like what could go wrong? Well, it turns out they just didn't want you to get views, so they didn't have to pay you out, and it just felt like the biggest mistake at the time. And then when I left, I felt like it still hadn't recovered, but I try not to like dwell on that anymore because it's not fun.
Yeah, one of my friends has like, no joke, 2 million followers, and she even suffered when she joined the Creator Fund. So I was like, us smaller creators aren't making this up.
Yeah, no.
Right. Do we have any other audience questions? I want to make sure we get to any of the rest of those before moving on to backups. Yeah, go ahead.
So cosplay, you can either buy it or make it. What's your personal preference for your outfits?
Ooh, that's a good question.
The less work, the better. I have made cosplays from scratch, and yes, those are near and dear to my heart, but if I can buy something and modify it, oh my God, that is the route I'm going to go. Like, this cape was just a Halloween cape. I cut the hood off to make the cowl and sewed it. I mean, like, I made this, but like everything else, Amazon. Like I hand dyed this, but like Amazon, man.
And that's actually how I started. I started Halloween store shopping, thrift store shopping, finding something that to make my costume complete. And then it's like, wait a minute, I can modify this to make it look better. What a concept. And then not have to spend 80 hours sewing something, trying to figure out, because patterns, I can't read patterns to save my life. So 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm having anxiety and insomnia, I'm thinking about how to make my own pattern in my head. Like, how can I construct this to make it work? So it's a lot of trial and error, but I prefer buying, because I don't know, like this, I didn't make this armor, but this, yeah, I made it. And it took a lot of work to just try to figure it out, and a lot of stress. Blood, sweat, and tears have gone into many, many costumes.
I think like, I don't know if it's like, I don't want to say with old age. When I first started, it was like, let's make everything, do all this stuff, and now I'm like, I'm too like tired for this. But the only time it's like, I feel like I need to really go in and make every single thing is if I'm entering a really big contest. That's really the only time. Otherwise, yeah, we're rocking all Amazon today almost. I made my mask, but that's about it. Yeah, there's a balance, I think, but everything's valid. Like, you could buy a cosplay, it's valid. You can wear a wig and do a casual cosplay, that's valid too. There's no limit to it.
Cosplay is what you make it.
Yeah.
I think that's an important point to drive home is, you know, I usually buy a lot of my cosplay and maybe I'll make a piece or two, like I made the guards I'm wearing for my Quidditch costume, but that's about it. And it was done really cheaply because you can get craft foam at a lot of places online. You can get now flexible paint called Plaid Effects that it flexes, so you don't need to worry about the paint cracking. It's so nice. So we're in a great age where you can cosplay and find the materials you want to do whatever you want and try new things almost anywhere and for a pretty cost-effective price. So yeah, I love to buy stuff and do a little bit of making.
I think I have a question for the panel. To ask the panel. So Celeste talked about her teen followers, and I just kind of want to talk about, because I struggle myself, how has it been having teens comment on your videos, and what have you done?
I've had teenagers sexting on my videos before, and that was very uncomfortable. It's complicated because like they're kids, you know, like their brains are still fully developing and all that kind of stuff. Like, and it's very weird because like I don't view myself as an adult, like no, but like I am the adult in this situation, so you have to act like the adult, and you either have to just, you know, delete the comment or just be like, hi, I'm old enough to be your mom, please don't hit on me. But yeah, it's also just one of those, like, by the end of the day, it's easier just to delete comments and move on. But yeah, horny teenagers are scary.
Yeah, I just thinking about how you have to be the adult in this situation, it sometimes freaks me out a little bit with, like, I have such young followers on TikTok, and it's like, sometimes, not to sound old, but like, where are the parents? Because these kids, like, that do up my videos sometimes because they're just excited, and it's, I don't know, I don't get it. It's like them watching my video on the duet and that's it. But I'll like go to their page just to check it out, and I just am like, it's not a private page. They're a young kid just out there in the world online. And I had, just because my cosplay email address is public for just like business related stuff, I had kids send me their homework on like Google Docs, and which was wholesome. There was like a recipe. I think a kid had a home ec class. There was a recipe for the Chick-fil-A sauce, super helpful. But what really like freaked me out is that they're young minors, and one kid like sent me an email and was like, I saw you were wearing this hat for this costume you made in this video. Can you send me one too? Here's my address, and listed the whole address in the email. And granted, I deleted it right away because I don't want to be a part of that, but it freaks me out that it's just like, do we need to go back to like cybersecurity training and like internet safety? But the thought of young kids on TikTok just really freaks me out.
It's a good thing you're not that person.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A recipe though.
That's pretty sweet. That's good.
I'm gonna need that.
Yeah.
Can you copy me on that, please?
I'm posting in the group chat.
All right, we got about 10 minutes left, so I want to do some fun questions for you guys. If you could describe your For You page in 3 words, what words?
I said this about sums it up for me too.
Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I understand why this is on my page. Like, you know, like horror icons, you know, and all that. Like, I'm spooky, I get it. Like, oh yeah. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, look at this pancake. I love pancakes.
And then pancakes got like 3 million.
Yeah, the pancakes are like 5 million likes, and I'm like, dang, okay, pancakes.
Yeah, I don't know what. I would say it's chaotic and it's really nerdy. And it's pretty. A lot of girls in their pretty makeup. I'm like, okay. It's very pretty.
I'm glad we're slowly getting back to those days of like cosplayers complimenting each other in bathrooms. Just be like, oh my god, you look amazing. Do you need me to like fix your hair real quick, helping each other? I missed that. Okay, so who is your current favorite person or account to follow on TikTok?
I've got one. It'd be so cool if she's watching my Instagram live right now, but her name is Jen Markham. She does a lot of Star Wars costumes.
Yes,
I love her.
her.
TikTok is like, I don't know if she needs to be hired by a studio or something because she edits every single video. Like, she does a lot of Star Wars, but also
Super
she
mom,
did
if that
yeah.
helps anyone.
She did a Scarlet Witch costume where she like transformed into it, but edited the video to make it look like she was flying up in the air. And she posts tutorials for it. She has all her own audio. She'll like wear one cosplay, but edit herself into the same video in another, and they're like interact. It's insane. And her husband's always part of it. They're very sweet. I love following her.
Did you see the one with Baby Yoda at Target?
Yeah,
I think that was my favorite
Baby
one.
Yoda series. It's definitely followed that TikTok.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know this TikToker. They're called And Cosplay.
I never heard of them.
They're a goob. I don't know. I kind of I haven't been on TikTok for a couple weeks because I've been moving and stuff. But I really like the Wilkins family. They're in Cicero. So I know it's Chucky, but they make everything and they let people walk through. And I think actually like the village or city of Cicero teamed up with them to like have them like decorate because of TikTok. So if you like spooky stuff, especially for like October, like, oh, they're great people. And like, it's free. It's like during Christmas time, you know, you can like drive around and look at lights. Now you can look at these sets. Like, that's cool.
I wouldn't say I have a favorite artist. There's a couple videos that I thoroughly enjoy. The Marvel videos are always fun to see how the characters would react to a situation. Or like when they go to Disney World, I'm like,
What's that account girl's name? Like, that's
yeah. She does a really good impression of Tom Holland. It's like so accurate, it scares me. She's so much fun to watch. And I forgot where my train of thought was going, but there's a lot of I like the transformation videos. I've actually gotten quite better at them, surprisingly, because it's so hard. Like you see these people like marking like take marks on the ground, like this is where my foot was, this is where my arm was. I'm like, I don't do that. There's different. I start with my phone this way, sometimes it's tilted this way when I finish. It's fine.
Actually, I do have someone else. Jenna Says What? She is one of my friends, and she has made about like 20 original characters, and like they're so intricate and so interesting. She's very talented.
There's a lot of cool people on TikTok.
I'm sure we're not some of the only ones who are checking every day to see if it's a bones day for that little pug.
It's a no bones day today.
It's a no bones day today. I'm so sorry.
Was it this morning?
Yeah.
Today is a no bones day, but Saturday and Friday were both bones days. So it was a good week. Today is a no bones day, but Saturday and Friday were both bones days. So it was a good weekend.
It's just this guy, he has this 13-year-old little fat plug, and he's like, picks him up, and it just drops him. It's like, it's either he like stands or he just
He
flops.
just lets it either flop or stand.
Yeah, well, not like dropping him from like 5 feet, but it's just like, are you gonna flop, or are you going to stand?
Yes, I love that account. So, continuing, what is your favorite current, maybe not current, doesn't have to be immediate, but trend or song, maybe one you've used, one that you thought was really fun or wholesome or just really funny?
Oh, I've got a favorite song.
Oh, really?
It's perhaps the best song ever created. Number one victory.
Oh my god!
Get down! What's that? I did the tomato town. Tomato town. Yeah.
Everybody's got down.
They're over here like, what? Oh, Fortnite song. Oh, okay.
I don't play Fortnite.
I don't play Fortnite, but I know.
You're all like basically cosplaying from Fortnite technically.
Okay.
It's a collab.
Yeah, that's true. It's like
we
Loki
won't go there.
That hurts my soul.
I don't think I have one, but just some of them are really stupid. Like, good soup. I'm like, so so there's one where, like, she's that's terrible, but also funny.
There are no kids. Okay. I was like, hold on, there are no kids. Okay. I checked. Hello, I am too. All right, so one more. We have just a few minutes left, so unless there are any audience questions. Okay, so one more question. Just a little bit more of a serious one to end us off. So in creating borders, and this goes beyond just TikTok, I think, what is and definitely is not okay to say to cosplayers and creators as a whole? Like, how should people go about commenting on their videos and even connecting with them in person?
How much time do we have?
2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Unless someone is specifically asking for constructive criticism, don't give it.
No.
Don't say, oh, well, their strap goes this way and your strap. No, we don't care. We didn't ask. We're here to have fun. Cosplay is about having fun. We've all stressed that this entire panel. And also, you know, the whole you have to look like the character to cosplay needs to stop.
Yeah.
Amen. But cosplay is for everyone, regardless of gender, size, shape, color. It's for everyone, hands down, regardless of how much you spent on the cosplay, how little you spent on the cosplay. If you're wearing glasses or makeup, everyone.
I actually had a guy yesterday, I was President Loki, and I had a crocodile in my hand. He had commented, he's like, you know, you have the alligator on the wrong hand. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like,
I missed the part where I asked.
I'm like, first of all, the left side is more maniacal and evil, which I feel is more relatable to Loki. So I'm sorry. Like, and then he's all like, there's a lady in a wheelchair in front of the line. She's like, oh, I'm a Jedi. I'm selfless. I'm like, but yet here you are saying that I have my alligator on the wrong hand. It was like just one of those moments. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'll just take it as it is.
All I really want is to never see in my comments again on TikTok is why is this on my For You page? Like, you're commenting on it, it's gonna keep